Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Haley Mitchell Haugen. I am the editor of Sheila-Na-Gig Editions and Sheila-Na-Gig online here. And tonight we are celebrating the release of Victoria Melekian's The Accidental Courage of Our Lives. Very excited to have this book out in the world. And then we'll be hearing from some select contributors to our fall issue of Sheila-Na-Gig Online, which was curated by Gary Glauber. So I'm happy to have everybody. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on Victoria. I'm just going to read one of her blurbs that I think nicely captures the essence of the collection, and then just give you her little bio as well. So this little blurb is from Nancy Strollman, who's the author of After the Rapture. The poems in the accidental courage of our lives stand at the edge of a wide vista, looking with a soft but unflinching gaze at the glorious expanse of a life. It's a book that pays attention to small things, a lamentation and a celebration of all our beautiful, hard-won contradictions. How to bury a dove in a shallow grave, the crunch of golden sun, how to survive a friend, and how poignant the view when faced with our own ending. Humming with tender maturity and hard-earned hope, Victoria Melekian invites us to remember, to marvel, and to wonder at the exquisite tragedy of being human. Can't ask for a better blurb than that. Pretty good, right? Yeah. So a little bit about Victoria. She grew up in Los Angeles and now lives with her husband in Carlsbad, California. She writes poetry, short fiction, and on occasion, a novel in flash. Her work has appeared in print and online and has been nominated for Best of the Net and the Pushcart Prize. She makes quilts, plants flowers, practices canon in D on the piano. And here she is tonight to share her work with us. Welcome, Victoria. Great to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm super nervous. Having my own book, here it is my dream come true. So thank you so much, Haley. I am still wildly over the moon and the excitement will continue. And I'm all set up. I just have to laugh because you guys probably have similar setups, but to make it look reasonable, I have a laptop on top of a really fat dictionary and an annotated Ulysses. So I can look professional. So I'm going to start with a poem that sounds like it probably should come at the end. It's called New Year's Eve. Last year's resolutions are in the garage, stuffed in a mason jar. They send their regrets. What's good for today might not be best in March, say, or August, when the hot summer sun is beating down my resolve to clean up the debris in my life. I'm older than I ever thought I'd be, and maybe that's enough. Anyone who deserved an apology got one. I adopted a dog. I let people merge into my lane. When sunrise sprawls across the horizon, I'll fill the empty bowl of morning with orange sky and bird song. Go out and make a day of it. So this is a poem about where, oh, I get to see you guys clap. Thank you. Um, this is a poem about where I come from. Splintered white picket fence. I come from a long line of women who check for a murderer lurking behind the shower curtain, who worry about tetanus and polio, bees swarming the front porch, women who pass down their angst, their strength, and independence, women who taught me well. If your heart's stuck in a cheese grater, hide it in the kitchen drawer. Fold your anger into a napkin and get the kids to school. Smile through prickly silences and never ladle family secrets into a stranger's bowl. Take a small gift when visiting and pay your own way. Go beyond ordinary and extend your Sunday best. Run with scissors if necessary, and no matter what, say thank you. Write it across the steamy mirror in the morning and believe it all day. This is a poem about my grandma, how to fold laundry. Grandma's hands spotted brown with age, veins like rivers diverging, always busy. She's hanging the wash, reaches down for a damp shirt, clips it onto the line with a wood clothespin as it begins to rain. Just like Guatemala, wet and smells green, she says, sniffing the air. I ask if she did laundry when she lived there. She gathers dry sheets, drops them into the basket, looks beyond the yard, past the trees, and says, "There's laundry everywhere, girl." In the kitchen, she shows me how to fold towels, shorts, sort socks, and roll them into balls. We play grocery store and go fish. She paints my fingernails fuchsia and clear and fuchsia again. I have my grandmother's piano, her bird books, and the butterfly picture. I have her hands and grandchildren of my own. Thank goodness I kept a copy of her heart, a red paper cutout sprinkled with glitter. So I grew up in Los Angeles. I raised my family in Los Angeles and spent most of my adult life there. And this next poem is about my favorite season in Los Angeles, which is wind season. I love the wind in Los Angeles. So the poem assumes that there's no fire. Wind season in Los Angeles. Early October afternoon, an eerie stillness settles over the city, a creepy edginess that prickles your ears and feels like waiting in the principal's office. Even kids know there will be wind after sunset. Santa Anas that howl all night under an orange moon. Devil winds raging down the canyons to the coast, toppling trees, snapping power lines, snarling traffic. Meteorologists explain reduced relative humidity, positive ions, gust velocity, but never mention the exhilaration swirling in the air, the mesmerizing waves rippling through the long grass, the desire to follow that wild frenzy up and over the hills. I'm a retired court reporter. I didn't work in court. I took depositions. And so I have probably been in almost every downtown building in LA in my day. And this is a poem about one day what happened. Hallelujah, this sky. Working downtown today, clouds in every window of the high rise across the way. Big billowy puffs, vast enough to house God and sweet baby Jesus, all of heaven's angels and saints. I'm telling you, it's a miracle sky, sky in a Bible, sky so gorgeous it can fix anything that ails you. And it's reflected in every single window on all 24 floors of the building across from me, a colossal glass cloud there to behold. The attorneys drone, question, answer, question, answer. I take down every do you recall, isn't it true, pursuant to. But I want to stop the deposition and applaud this sky. Hallelujah, this sky. Devour this sky. Stuff myself with pure white fluffiness. Slip clouds into their transcript. This one's called There's a Nest in the Purple Flowered Tree. Sore throats and ear infections, stomach flu, dislocated collarbones, one broken arm, chickenpox, a brain tumor, injuries on bikes, skates, flexi flyers, car accidents, trampled on feelings, and from none of these was I able to protect my children despite my vigilance. So, yes, I understand the mockingbird's fierce guarding, his swoop from the roof to nip the dog's ear, racing across the brick fence when we open the gate by the tree. Those are his babies he's keeping safe, and he has yet to find it's impossible. I can send the dog out back, and we can use our side entrance, but I can't help him with the hawk crouched on top of the lamppost or the crows circling the yard. There will always be a cat sitting beneath the purple flowered tree. This next poem was published in Sheila-Na-Gig Online in 2020. And it's one of those cats waiting under the purple flowered tree. Quite likely a cerebellar astrocytoma, the neurosurgeon says, looking at the MRI. And I think of glowing stars and celestial bodies, but this is a 9-syllable tumor embedded in my son's brain. He explains the stages, slow growing and high grade, surgery and possible losses, speech, vision, balance. He calls them deficits. a word that feels like a plastic glove. He gives percentages 15, 25, 40, numbers floating in the air. I want that moment a week ago, standing in my sunny yellow kitchen, holding the last 2 slices of whole wheat bread, just enough to make a grilled cheese sandwich, half for me, half for my boy. Simple math I understood. So, just so you know, um, my son was 13. He's 51 now. So he survived, he thrived, and no surprise, he is a health freak, and he does Ironman and triathlons, and turned it around. So one more poem about another cat waiting under the purple flowered tree. Not yet, my grandchildren aren't ready. No matter the number of fingers crossed or the love and bright shining hope waiting for me in the lobby, the scooch from gurney to surgical table is a lonely journey. Listen up, tumor. The word feels like gristle you pull from your mouth and set discreetly on the edge of your dinner plate. You can take chunks of the breast or the whole thing if you want. Heck, you can have both. But please leave me my liver. Stay away from the brain, your favorite haunts. I have yet to show Gracie how to thread the old singer, teach Jack to drive a stick shift, take them on a Grunion run. I'm not done embedding myself in the marrow of their sweet growing bones. And this is how this ended up. Standing in a near empty parking lot with my mammogram results. The receptionist folds the report in thirds, slides it into an envelope he seals shut, and I wonder, why not just hand it over? Maybe he knows something I don't yet. Seagulls swoop and squawk from light posts. I've read they head inland when rain's on the way, but the sky looks clear. I hold my breath and rip the envelope open. I want this report to shower me with confetti and invite me out to celebrate. I want this report to belly up to the bar and order a spicy jalapeno poppers and 2 beers to wash them down. I want this report to sloppy kiss me, take me to the tip top of a Ferris wheel and propose we go another year. And oh, benevolent universe, thank you, thank you. My favorite words, benign findings, my passport into tomorrow. Thank you. Colleen, say yes. There's always something beckoning from the dark path. Yesterday it was a crow, glossy, sassy, swooped in and took the 3-day-old hatchling, leaving a shredded nest and no more doves, no more fluttering wings under the eaves. You can get lost in the quiet. And yet, orange butterflies dazzle the yard, morning glories twine their way through thickets of wild rose, and the very old dog asks for dinner. A plane's white word puffs drift across the afternoon sky, writing, "Marry me, Colleen." And I'm hoping Colleen, whoever she is, says yes. Okay, this one's for fun. When we mistake windows for the sky. Usually we leave the stunned birds outside, but that crow is watching, and the injured wren has no chance without our help. We bring her inside, tucked into a deep box loosely covered for the night. This morning, she's perched on the kitchen table as though waiting for us like a happy baby eager to be lifted from a crib. We pop out the window screen and shepherd the bird back into her world of trees and sky. Each time I plop a spider, lizard, roly-poly bug outside, I think about the giant girl in the Twilight Zone episode playing with toy humans. The universe is vast and wondrously odd, and one day a dinosaur-sized insect might pluck me from my bed and set me down alone in the desert. If karma is true, there will be a bowl of water nearby. This poem is in response to a prompt. Katie asks, why not be optimistic? Listen, Katie, hope is not that easy. Humanity is a collision of red and blue chaos, a giant slop of disharmony that's killing us and the planet. You can't just order up a box of hope and be an optimist by noon tomorrow. You've got to create your own. I learned from the experts. I sat out front and watched Jack shoot hoops in the driveway. over and over and over till he had 19 in a row, one more than yesterday. Gracie and I picked dandelion puffs and blew them into the breeze. Fingers crossed they'll root in the grass. Let's fill the yard, Grandma. Grow wishes for everyone. All afternoon we seeded our future. Yellow flowers and fluffy white globes stretched across a wide green lawn under a bright chrysanthemum sun. Okay, I have two more for you. This next one is the title poem. The Accidental Courage of Our Lives. Mom, there are termites in the garage. I can see their fine dust droppings, and I should call someone to fix it before I come home to a huge pile of crumbled house, and yet week after week I don't. Work is hard, and there's too much of it, and some days there's not enough of me left to spread on a cracker. I'm doing that thing again, telling myself life will be better when I retire, when I organize my stuff, when I walk 3 times a week. But that's crap thinking, I know. Life is right now. I ended up with the same cancer as you, Mom, and because you died young, I thought I would too. But I'm still here, and that's something, living with the termites, our doddering old dog, lovely chaos of family. Living with gratitude for all I thought I'd miss. Daughters-in-law, grandkids' small hands, a little house with grass to mow and trash cans I lug to the curb every Wednesday. The beautiful gift of each day, people to feed, dishes to wash, laundry to fold. On my porch, gray stems of the plant you gave me reach around the corner. Tiny coral flowers seek sun, want light, want it all. And I will leave you with a bedtime poem. We see the past when we look at stars. When my boys were young, I tucked them into bed, folded the blanket into a V to pull up later if the night was cold. After a story, I kissed their foreheads, whispered, "Sleep tight," and stood at the door as glow-in-the-dark stars lit up the ceiling and walls. One by one, my sons grew into their own lives. When the last left for college, I found his goodbye, one star glowing on the ceiling above my bed. I took that star, added a galaxy more, and everywhere I've lived, my portable universe has been the last to peel off, first to stick on. Tonight, I tucked grandchildren into my bed under the same star, faint but still glowing. Thank you all for listening to me. I look forward to hearing all your poems. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. Really wonderful to hear these aloud. The 9-syllable tumor, right? I've always got to remember that line. Just really sticks with me. And the fun conversations we had when we were producing the book, like whether people in other states would understand skywriting, things like that. It was a really fun journey, and just super to have you here. So
Thank you.
are celebrating Victoria Melekian and her debut collection, The Accidental Courage of Our Lives. So very excited to do that. And now we are going to segue into our invited mic portion of the evening, where we have a selection of contributors from Sheila-Na-Gig Online, our fall 2025 issue. And we're going to start off with Mary Boehm in Lima, Peru. So take us away, Rosemary.
Okay, now you all know where I live. And when I moved here, I wrote a book. It's a poetry collection called Peru Blues, because, of course, at the beginning, there's still things you finally get used to. But I also missed Europe. So these 2 poems are basically about that. Nostalgia. I'm happy here, and yet a cloud in passing smiles at me the way this urchin did in Umbria, and over there that rock looks like Thierry, his Gauloise glued to his lips. The humid heat reminds me of Chiang Mai. Pacific sunsets do not conjure the frozen Baltic or the milling crowds of Oxford Street. No image takes me to the Brenner Pass or the glorious anemones of Aphrodite's meadows dressed in spring. I see the snapshots in my mind, Why does one image stay and others fade? Did I leave marks in alien eyes or footprints in the stony coast of Cork? And the other one is, I want to write about November as it should be. About November mornings, when we know that God is dead, about melancholy and that first crunch of winter in the dead brown leaves wet from the night. Those mornings when you know you're better off in bed instead of running for the bus in the dark, when the winter coats brought back out, turn moist and smelly, squashed against our bodies in the heat of an overcrowded underground. Skyping with friends, they sound jealous when I tell them I acquired my first sunburn and shall spend Christmas by the pool with a glass of bubbly. But I would give much to hate cold ears again, to try and protect myself against the icy wind, piercing my overcoat, wishing for fur, regretting the lack of a woolly hat. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Victoria, for your book, and thank you for your lovely reading. And thanks, Rose. I'm going to read a couple of poems. One is about Venice. I just got back from Italy. Venice is one of my happy places. And the poem is called Bells of Venice. In Salizada San Rocco, alongside the Frari, I marvel at the massive church slotted into a narrow space, crowded by buildings. The first peal hits me loud and sudden. The next, expected, still blunt, a sonic force. Another bell close by adds its voice, some pantalones. Soon they talk to each other the Italian way, as if arguing. Tones of bronze locked in a tolling match, sounds filling the air between the Salizada's sides, deafening, as if the bells were ringing to raise the dead. Do they always chime this loudly, this long? In the silence that tails the last peal, the sliver of city around me feels suspended, as on the crest of a wave. My body, too, still resonating. I can't escape the sense of having just been called. To what? The bells thundered inside me, turned my body into a taiko drum, made it play. And my next poem, actually, I hadn't planned on it, but then one of Victoria's poems makes a reference to retirement and plans of things to do in retirement. So this was published, I think, last year in Sheila-Na-Gig Online. The head lightkeeper contemplates retirement. There's an epigraph. The Point Cabrillo light station lens was illuminated for the first time on June 10, 1909, under head keeper Wilhelm Baumgartner. I lit the lamp at midnight the first time, then every sunset for going on 14 years. Every 2 hours, cranked the chain onto the drum to keep the light's rotation, its signature a flash every 10 seconds. Kept the fog signal on, 2 blares, then silence for 24 seconds. A dance of siren and flashing light. Our charge to warn ships away from shallow reefs and rocky shores. I know in my bones if something isn't right. A speck of dirt on the lens, a stutter in my heart. One day, I'll pass the honor of tending the station to another lay monk devoted to lamplight and siren, to prevent bodies from becoming souls. Illuminate their moment of darkness, sound the horn of heaven when fog shrouds them, show the way when they're lost. I'm contemplating retirement. I will miss the ocean's briny smell, waves crashing against the bluff one day, the next a deep blue blanket rippling in the sun. Western gulls' loud calls, sea lions barking, spouts and flukes of migrating gray whales. I'm ready to yield to a craving for a clockless life, a full night's sleep in silent darkness. But what rituals will measure my hours? What calling rule them? Whose lamp will I keep alight? And the postscript is he never retired, actually. He died in 1923 while still principal lighthouse keeper at Point Cabrillo. Yeah, and you can find actually all this curiosity, all the archives of the lighthouses of the United States are online. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Eileen Trauth, and the first poem I'm going to read is from this anthology, Tributaria. It's a collection of poetry about the Ohio River and its tributaries. Grander. My fingers trace the map of my father's mother's journey by waters that carried her along. Born the 7th of 11, above a saloon, beside a smelly Erie Canal annex, raised on higher ground, upwind of the Deer Creek, better society, until her father's fortunes fell, dispersed like his money, landed in a Mill Creek settlement until she escaped at 18, waited, starry-eyed, on Scioto's banks for her vaudeville hero who never came back. Bore my father in a floodplain flat between the Mill Creek and the railroad tracks. Found redemption and another chance near faraway 4 Mile Creek. Spent her waning years looking over the Ohio in her voyage on streams of memory. And the second poem I'm going to read is from a competition, Ohio Poetry Day. And so the winners get in this booklet. The test. Did my sister pray the day she heard the doctor's news? Did her body feel what sealed her fate at a later date? Did her stomach become a coffee grinder blast as she grasped the kitchen counter, cup cooling, legs buckling? Did she hide her mind behind her busy work, fill her brain to the brim to force away fear, fury, and why me? Today I wait, my turn to learn, to crave tomorrow, and all is well. I sit in silence, image a solemn stare to greet my gaze. 1,000 prickles sting my cheeks. My rapid heart beats in my ears, tries to drown out dread, the relentless buzz of an unwanted fly. Thank you.
I've got a couple of poems that are very different from each other and from what has come before. This one was just published this week in Jackdaw Review. It's called Watching Asia Eat. Asia is my 2-year-old granddaughter. She was younger when I wrote this. Watching Asia Eat. She's 1 year old, so each experience is new. First visit to aquarium or zoo, the beach, the pool. But I love best to watch her as she tries new foods. She's methodical, picks them up and tries them with her two small teeth, tasting salty, bitter, sweet, though she has no name yet for these sensations. When she tastes ice cream, the cold stings her small tongue, melting before she's really tasted it. French fries and pasta, and best of all, the peach, round and soft, yielding as a breast full of sweet juice. I ask myself, when did each meal become routine? My senses dull as an old kitchen knife, each bite a bore. Just watching her, I catch a bit of the fresh curiosity, want to pretend each bite's my first and feel it surging back, that joy. On a totally different vein, stately, the sequoias with their ridged red bark never doubt themselves. Sometimes they burn, sometimes are felled by storms or eaten from the inside by disease. These great trees still know their worth, even if another may be judged as grander, taller, its form more perfect. When it falls, that tree will leave a gap that never can be filled again in the same way. I've known people no one ever thought would come to much, seen them surprise the ones around them. Among them, there was one whose hands knew how to wield a bow and make a cello speak, release the notes the maple had within it. Another who could build a desk or house or prune a topiary hedge. I could learn from them. I put down my pen, seek the company of the baker at the farmer's market, who makes who wakes before the sun to proof the dough, who knows how much time it takes to bake the crust to cracked perfection. Thank you. And this is my new book, About to Disappear. It's an ekphrastic collection, and I just opened the box before this reading.
Hi, I'm Dina, and I'm going to read two poems. And the first one was published, I think last year in River Heron Review. It's called Cows. I have fallen in love with the cows, drooling their dreams on the electric fence. My child, in a scientific experiment, once played the music. Did the cows prefer oboe or violin, or human singing, or nothing? I think the cows prefer cello, a sound that speaks in tones they know, but my child couldn't play the cello. Their voice still cracked the gap between baritone and soprano. So now you think you know the gender of my child, who once folded their toddler body to sleep in a plate of pizza, a time when gender shouldn't have mattered, but we already dressed them as if it did. I have fallen in love again and again with this child, now grown, who likes purple lipstick, though there's something so cow-like about lips, the wonder of cuds, and what the mouth holds in. The cows showed no preference for oboe or violin. And why should they cherry pick this unasked gift of music? Both instruments played the same song. And the second poem I'm going to read is from my book, called Here in Sanctuary Whirling, and it's mostly poems about immigration and my trip to the US southern border in 2020. This poem is called I Do Not Know. I do not know why the wind is so fierce today, why some people die and others recover. Does a tornado choose its targets? Is there a blueprint somewhere with the secret path of my life mapped out? Will this trail I'm on connect with the ridgeline, or will it keep crossing the same stream? How do I get to the bunker? And what's hidden there now that the army no longer has it? I do not know how dirt feels to a carrot root or to my brother 6 feet under. Is he able to read the prayer books placed on his coffin through some double miracle of semi-resurrection and dyslexia cured? What does it feel like to a dyslexic when letters leave their prescribed places? Why do bodies compartmentalize into people who love each other, hating the people across the river, who love each other and hate the people across the river? Why do we have to teach toddlers to share their sand buckets? Why don't they do it naturally? Why don't we do it naturally? Why don't we do it? Thank you.
My first poem is from my new chapbook, Sailing to the Edges, which is out from Finishing Line just a week or so ago. It's called Echolocation. And this little book was inspired by a voyage from Iceland to Svalbard to Norway and down the coast. It's called Echolocation. I click, I whistle, I announce myself. I want to know where you are in the contrarian seascape through which we swim, hungering for response. Speak to me, speak your name, declare your place in the order of things, your relationship with this liquid world of shifting depths and seasons. We must find each other through this roar and churn as the clear sea rises and transmogrifies into a gorgon moil of torn sargasso or storm-culled kelp and the debris of the land. Sipping breaths through the hurly-burly, we sink down to quieter levels, to recover from the heave of dodging flotsam and breasting those waves. Then, under the calm lens of aquamarine, the sinus wave of our progress is our constant, pausing to weave our looping lasso snoods of bubbles to constrict the herring schools for our scooping. Our eager chat and squeals of satisfaction are songs of collaborative joy. Evolution sings through and saturates our tissues. We have been fashioned to find one another, whether in silty estuary or cave of blue mid-ocean. This we come to know. You must listen to yourself, to your own voice, sounding out against resisting surfaces to understand where you are and to be found. Identify yourself moment by moment, but always at the same time be listening, saying, I here, acknowledge you there, and here we are, known, sounded, recognized, reconnected in our malleable slipstream of a world. Thank you. And the second one is from my collection, Wrestling with the Angel, from Whitford. It's called Little Brother, and this is a slightly political poem. America, my young brother, you are keeping bad company these days. swapping bravery for bravado, racketing night after night. You have grown too big for your own house, fists too eager, voice too loud. Every morning, the Jays arrive with their storm cloud colored shoulders, their dapper uniforms in hues of blue, staking claim among the seed and sending off the sparrows with lancet beaks and eyes until there is nothing left. Tyrants of this empire of insatiety, taking pleasure but no joy. My brother, when did rage become your station? On constant guard, you stand outside yourself in its mayhem glow until every other is backlit as your rival, every rival as your enemy. Raging, you can forget you are so afraid of everyone, teetering on the I-beam over your own ruined city, daring anyone to take your weapons or your hand, wondering how far you must walk out to stop hearing your mother weep. Thank you.
That's great, thank you. So, and Victoria, thank you for your narrative poetry and its clarity. It's really wonderful to listen to. And for Haley and Gary for this poem that was selected for Sheila-Na-Gig. It is longer, it's the length of 2 poems. So for the moment, I'm going to read this one poem. It's called Habana. I'm in the back seat of a 57 Chevy with a rebuilt Russian engine in a city where lead-black pollution drifts like lethal fog, as if Havana was nothing but a lung soaking in what's cancerous. And when the halogen lights of the highway kick in at dusk, they illuminate sheets of exhaust, vibrant and fibrous. I listen to how deeply the city breathes, how it pounds its chest in rhythm to the heart-stop beat of an Afro-Cuban jazz quintet holding forth in the basement of La Zora y el Cuervo, while at street level a dark-skinned Cuban in a modified tux stands sentinel against those of us who've been bored by purgatory, where what we've glimpsed of heaven is altogether too bright. To be alive is nothing if not improvisation, and what I hear of a West African inflected sax carries enough rapture to satisfy any myth of a second coming. In Habana Vieja, Hemingway held court at La Floridita, where he practiced his shining abuse of alcohol. On a typical night, 15 daiquiris, which illuminated for me the tight path between Havana and his home in Idaho, where he'd placed the barrel of a shotgun to his head. You can't walk through his house in Havana, for they've left it exactly as it was the day he killed himself. But you can look in through the windows. On the walls, the heads and throats of the African game he'd taken down, and the table lined with liquor bottles, standing as quietly and upright as a staff of butlers, in unmoving discipline since 1960. The throat of each taut with anticipation of one more drink. And for all that happened in Idaho, here at least, the walls and floors are bloodless. I can exhaust my some knowledge of Spanish in 140 seconds, and yet somehow I'm the one to carry the conversation with most every taxi driver. Half of them asking me, ¿Cuál ciudad es más hermosa? Nueva York or Habana? Habana, I tell them. Havana is more beautiful, and they smile. Whatever the truth is, it has no place here. Poverty is crushing, but so is the beauty of this country. At the local market, I pay what amounts to 35 cents for a liter of purified water and pocket the change as if hard-earned. The stupid satisfaction in exchanging a banknote for a bottle of water and display of foreign coinage. Es stupido Americano. I know this, but that changes nothing. I'm making my way alone through a country where English is as much an embargoed commodity as technology, where the stone fortresses overseeing the city stand impregnable within the hours of a long-gone century, and now honeycombed with touristas who walk about in their own quietude. More than history, it's the silence I've come for. The small inner court with its broken slatted benches and assemblage of cottonwood trees, where for the first time in this city I can hear the soft wind lofting in from the harbor. What I have left behind in New York is not something new, but something very old. The ritual of heartbreak, its dance of exhaustion, its primitive chant. And if I'm not quite singing, it's only that I've yet to hold the language the way it wants to be held. Along the sea wall that stands barrier to the bay, young people cross the Malecon to gather along its length. The night holds on to its heat. The bay makes its run up against the concrete and vaults over where it can. A flash of violence before the calm. As I pass, everyone is talking, and the few who are not are talking to me. I understand what they are saying, the careless pose of their bodies, the way their eyes touch the distance, its dark lip of desire. I understand what it's like when words will not do. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you again for publishing my work. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciated the rhythm with which you read that. It was just a nice rhythm. And Victoria, the perfect title for your book. Just the perfect title. This first one was published in Eastern Iowa Review, which only publishes prose poems. And it's the first prose poem I wrote, and they named it Best Prose Poem of the Year in 2021. And they just came out with a collection of their best poems from the last 8 issues. Green Bowl. Loving is scary because it zooms. You are glued to a something, I think, and then you feel whenever whatever zips away, the pain that is too much. Liking I can do. Liking is this bowl of a rich Chinese green, not seen anywhere in the slick city. Liking is enough sometimes, but not really. I mean the fabulous, fantastic stuff my roommate carefully cooks every evening. And with it, we sip a good Merlot or some white. Wanting. If maybe I want a thing, do I love it? Is the thread of desire I send to it something? I love blank. I refuse to think of that which wants to be wrapped in my spinning web mind. After all, freedom comes in letting go, my mother's old hippie posters taught me. And don't we want to be free? And the second one is a prompt poem from a writing group I was in. The prompt was write something, imagining you're sitting next to someone who's dying. And I included it in my first collection, Hitchhikers to Eden. Hospice. It's nothing I can talk about, June. I don't even know how to be here. I sat once with a friend who was giving birth. That I could do. But you, I can wash your floor, but I'm no good at pushing you to heaven. Let me try, though, June. Listen, there are 16 hushed angels at the edge of the bed. And listen, June, they are hugging quite happily and humming an ethereal anthem. I'm not making any of this up. Easter Bunny and Tooth Fairy are here too, as well as the winner of the 6th annual spelling contest, who crowned you the 7th. He passed on in Vietnam 34 years ago this month, remember? He is kneeling here by your elbow and grinning your favorite winning words, grandeur and halcyon. How did you know the letters in halcyon back then, June, without knowing the definition? Tranquil. I am counting 7 leprechauns, all with bunches of 4-leaf clovers, ready to stuff in your hands. It will be a blast. I can see right now.
Thank you so much, Jean, and thank you to all our invited mic readers from Sheila-Na-Gig Online Fall 2025 issue. And thank you to our featured reader, Victoria Melekian, celebrating her book, The Accidental Courage of Our Lives. So you can find all of our books and links to our past issues at Sheila-Na-Gig blog.com. Thank you, everybody, for coming by.